I get enough people to find me. Hello, hello. So, don't mind the noise. I'm trying to reorganize here. As you can see, I'm in my room. And this is where I've been the past couple of days. Why, you might ask? Well, my thermostat is set at 72, but my temperature in my home right now is at about 60. It got down to 57 degrees in my house. That's where we're at. My room is the warmest room in my home, so I have my TV, I have my side table here, and yeah. So much fun. So yeah. So much fun freezing my ass off in my own home. Wonderful. I've even at times went and put my foot against the heater to make sure it was actually fucking working. Okay? It's fucking cold. Yo. So, and when I say it's cold, it got down to like 3 degrees and felt like negative 14. The coldest day in 6 years. The coldest day in the past 6 years. Today. And yesterday. So, yeah, fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. No. I hate this shit. So much fun. So how is everybody else? Yeah. Yeah, to the Elon Musk scammer person, the one pretending to be Elon Musk, please kick rocks. I don't DM scammers. Sorry. Nor do I have anything to do with scammers. Lord have mercy. Like, so I got to thinking about something. I was watching a video on my main account that somebody posted. She's probably a bit older than me, around my age, something like that. She's a survivor. And there's multiple islands, not just Epstein's, I guess. And then I saw another video that I duetted. whereas part of it's playing Gangster's Paradise. LL Cool J is performing it, and the other part it goes back and forth from LL Cool J performing Gangster Paradise to pictures of Epstein, Clinton, and a few others, and then it's my most recent video on my main account. If you want to go see it, you'll know what I'm. Yeah. It's time for justice. Like I said, it's starting to get harder for me to come on this app because the pictures and whatever everybody's talking about it, what's in the files, and seeing the pictures there. It's shit I witnessed and experienced. What people don't seem to realize is this has been going on for hundreds of years. Not just with it didn't just start with Epstein. That was just a more permanent obviously a permanent place that they could just go whenever they wanted to. But it's been going on for hundreds of years. All the thing, if you've read about it, heard about it, whatever, it's all true. It's all true. It's just getting hard for me to come on this app because, well, if you go look on my main account, like at my last video, I do edit, and you'll understand why I'm upset. It's like memories and witnessing it is really, really bad, and then having to see pictures of the shit. And there's shit I still don't remember. You definitely don't want to. But I will tell you what it is. I did a duet. It's of a video where it goes with LL Cool J. It'll go from him performing "Gangster Paradise" and it's singing the whole song playing throughout the video. To then it goes to a picture of Epstein and like Bill Clinton and others with bodies wrapped in sheets with ropes around the necks and that. Hearing about it and seeing pictures of it, everyone is horrified by what they're seeing and hearing. I experienced it. It's been going on for hundreds of years. I'm one of the survivors. And I've been thinking the tunnels, that's how they end up getting wherever, right? Tunnel from that one room I was in. Well, Kathy, were you one of the victims? Did you survive horrific shit like that and see others go through that type of shit? Go watch the video, okay? My main account. Go watch it and look at the pictures. You don't know the hell I've been through and survived. And the rest of the survivors. I wonder how many of the other survivors had tunnels in their bedrooms too. The tunnel with the religious murals painted on the walls. I think somebody did, I don't know. I hope they did. But I just want to say, if I don't come on here for a while, I hope y'all understand why. No, you're not the only mod. Sandra D is a mod too. And I think I have another mod on here, I'm not quite sure. And then and then I hear so many, I'm coming across so many people, so many videos talking about how Christianity and it's bad and the blood of Jesus, the body of Christ, and all that, right? It's bad, it's a cult, it's a. I've been saying this shit. I've been saying it. And I was called what? Blasphemy. I told y'all, Christianity was started by the Illuminati. People didn't want to believe me, and now look. Don't say shit just to fucking say it. Because I knew once I said it, the backlash I would get from saying it. But now look. Now look. Everybody's talking about it. All the things that people said, that some said about me, like I was crazy and delusional and I'm this bad for you name it, it's been fucking said about me. And now look. Everything I've talked about, the memories of the cages, the memories, just all of it. And it's all in the fucking files. Everything that people are talking about is all the shit I've said that I remembered. The shit I don't remember that I'm finding out now. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. I keep taking my glasses off and on because I have a headache, and whether I wear my glasses or I don't wear them, it gets worse. I keep thinking one way or the other it'll get better. I've already taken ibuprofen. But no stress. About the Illuminati? Headache. Migraine, not acid reflux. Wrong one. One of the leaders of the Illuminati's granddaughters kidnapped me when I was little. Yeah. I was told I have arthritis in my neck, but turns out I might actually have I'd probably have this eye condition called strabismus, and if I do, it's just more evidence to my real identity. See, I was kidnapped when I was very little, and then I was trafficked. They called this woman that I called great grandma, they called her Graham and Mother Hayden. Her name was Alta Arian. Masons, Eastern Star Knights of the Templar, Scottish Rites, those are the Illuminati. All the shit you're reading about that's come out is all true. All of it is true. Have my what checked? I don't think people realize how hard it wasn't an easy thing for me to do to talk about. I was kidnapped from my real family. I have on my thyroid, I have an autoimmune disease called thyroiditis, aka Hashimoto's disease. So stress and everything makes me tired, whereas I get worn out very easily anymore. It was hard for me to finally talk about everything. And there's, like I said, there's a lot I don't remember. But I talked about it because I knew I had to, even though I knew I was going to get the backlash I did. I didn't know it was going to be that bad. I didn't know that I was kidnapped or anything until that bitch said something. I just had suspicions my whole life. And I'm 95% sure of who I really am, and I don't know if my royal family knows about me. And all I want to do is have my real identity and reunite with my real family and get justice. You know? I would like to get a hold of one of their books, though. Because I would love to find out exactly what is written about me in their fucking book. Thank you. I've had living threats after one member from South Africa reached out to me and, they've been trying to, get people to join and all that shit. Because members have been leaving. Obvious reasons. And I went on and on. I said, there's reasons to be terrified of me because you know all about me. And he said, no, Grace, I don't know anything about you. I said, what do you know about Heather McCord? What's written in your book about her? And that's when he realized who I really was. And that's when he said, and I'll show you, I took screenshots of the whole conversation, but he went from, talking and trying to, oh, I understand, I was kidnapped, da 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 da. And it went from that to when he figured out my legal identity. He says, okay, gotta go by. Okay, gotta go by. And then he blocked me, and then he unblocked me. He said he took screenshots. And he was in Chicago, and then blocked me again. That family is not my family. I'm not sure what you're not comprehending about that. I was a replacement. I wasn't the first replacement either. By all accounts, there were probably... Her first child was probably born in 1973. And then the one in the picture was probably a boy. And the stories I've been told by them, oh, this happened and that happened. How does a baby come home from the hospital a couple days after being born, roll off the changing table, and then just fine? I think that's how one of them passed. Another one was Linda told me that I would stop breathing at night. What are you trying? Like, I'm confused on you, Jane Marie. Who are you? Because I don't know who you are, number one. Number two, if you're doing what I think you're doing, you're barking up the wrong motherfucking tree and you're not going to succeed at it. See who this Jane Marie is. You're a legit person, as far as I can tell. Well, if I was kidnapped, Let's go back to the fact that I know I've had fake supporters and I still do Jana Marie, whatever your name is. You've been on my live several times, right? So right now you're speaking up and trying to what? Well, if you were kidnapped. But you've been on here quite a few times, right? So, I'm sure it was. Sandra, can one of my mods handle that, please? Hello. Let me make myself abundantly fucking clear. I will not tolerate anybody disrespecting me, trying to fucking discredit me and all that shit. I've been there, done that. It's a fucking rerun. Yes, I go back and forth from crying to I'm a fucking mixed up ball of emotions right now. Okay? And I'm trying to make sense of shit. And I know that Jana, whatever the fuck her name is, that just got blocked, has been on here multiple times. So and then to say, well, if you were kidding, well, if you had common sense, you wouldn't have said shit. That's just my opinion. I would doubt it's gonna come back that I'm not, but if I'm not, then I keep looking. Because this little girl's still missing. I'm missing. Don't know my real identity. The sketch of the suspect looks identical to the woman I grew up knowing as my biological mother. I have a birthmark in the same exact spot. Mole right here. Yeah, she had one too. Oh yeah, I have a club thumb on my right hand, and you zoom in on her hand and her right hand, you tell she has one too. Not to mention, I look like the age progression and the family and so on and so forth. And the eye condition, um, I most likely do have I have a nerve in my face that doesn't work, and if they were to and I found that out because I had a 4-hour ear surgery where they drilled a hole in my hearing bone. Holes in my hearing bone, so they had to open it up. That's why this ear sticks out farther than this one. Um, and they said that I could never have the surgery again because one of the nerves on my left side of my face doesn't work, and if it's touched just the wrong way, it could paralyze the whole left side of my face. My coordination has always been fucked. I can't catch a ball to save my life. My depth perception has always been bad. I've been slow at every fucking thing my entire life, and this is shit I got made fun of for. And then my eyesight's all my eyesight is all weird. Half the time, sometimes my eyesight's blurry with my glasses. I get headaches when I wear my glasses. And this little girl, Catrice Lee, who's still missing, who's been missing for 44 years, that's who I'm 95% sure I am. She had the eye condition strabismus. I looked up all my I said, could all of this combined lead to, could this be what that is? As yeah. And I'm going to see a eye specialist next month after, because I'm having the surgery to remove my stimulator on the 20th, and then in March I go to the eye specialist, and they will tell me if I have strabismus in my left eye or not, because Catrice Lee had strabismus in her left eye, and all my problem, like the nerve in my face and everything, is outside. And yeah, you get a lot of migraines with the eye condition too, from what I've read. So I'm going to find out if I have the condition. Did I ever have eye surgery? Because they did have me wearing glasses for a time being. So I don't know if I've ever had eye surgery, and if I did, it would have been when I had my tonsils removed, which I would have been young at the time. I don't remember. They said 2.5. And my tonsils removed when I was 2.5. I don't remember clearly. Um, but I remember what the person was wearing that took me. They were wearing a gray suit or a gray outfit, gray jacket. I thought it was a gray suit, being so young. And I've always had the memory of the day I was taken, too. They gave me an orange safety sucker. It's one where the stick of it goes round and loop. Um, there was a white building on the left side of me, and it was a grassy, and I ran up to the person. They handed me the sucker. I put it in my mouth, and they picked me up. The person had short, dark hair. And the next thing I remember, I was in the back seat of a car, and everything was very bright, and I was really, really hot. And I heard the two in the front seat. It was Jack and Sue in the front seat of the car having the conversation. The seats were bench seats. They were tannish goldish color, and I think the car may have been a 1981 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. I don't know why, but something similar to that. And I think, if I remember, it may have had ashtrays on the back seat, on the backs of the seats. I can't quite remember, but I know something about the word gold or the goldish color, beigeish. It's weird, but they were having a conversation in the front seat. She said, "What if she remembers?" He said, "Don't worry, she's too young. She won't remember. Just make sure you take better care of this one than you did the last ones." She said it wasn't her fault the baby fell. And he said he didn't believe her because of the first time. And they started arguing. He hit her, and I passed out. I don't remember anything after that except the next memory I have would have been me running away because I got out somehow. I escaped. And I remember it was warm out, it was sunny. And I ran down the block. I got out of the house, I ran down the block, and I ran up, crossed a busy street, got to the high school, got up to the doors before I could get to got up before I could get to the fucking door to open it. Linda caught up with me in the car. And she got me in the car, beat me on the way back to the house, and then got me in the house where they proceeded to beat me. And the next memory I have is standing against the back of the shower in the tub with the man I thought was my uncle, that I grew up knowing as my uncle, up by the faucet. The next thing I remember, that's only a couple seconds of a memory. I don't remember. I can only imagine, because then I couldn't stop urinating. So, and they had to put me in diapers until they took me to the doctor, and I had to get a shot in my hip. And that's what the family that I grew up knowing as that I thought I was related to. I started having memories of other things, though. When I was living in my car in 2023, I started having memories of the other stuff, about the other children and things like that. I could see without my goddamn glasses. This is the Illuminati. What do you think? Think Epstein. All that shit? That's what this is. It's been going on for hundreds of years. I'm guessing it happened. That happened. I had to have escaped. It probably was September of 1985. Because it was still warm and it was in Iowa. Thank you. No, I do my own nails. I buy it, I get them. I get them and then, well, it depends on how old I really actually am. We know I'm not Heather, so I'm not 45. If I'm Catrice Lee, I would be 46, so at the time, I probably would have been 5 going on 6. Yeah, I was about 5 going on 6. What report? Sometimes. I'm not gonna keep it in. I'm gonna expose every fucking thing that those motherfuckers did. I'm not gonna protect the fucking evil monsters that they fucking are. Make sure the whole world knows how motherfucking evil they are. I escaped for good in the end of January of 2023. I'm not Tanya, so if that's what you're asking, I'm not Tanya Michelle Williams, no. If that was the case, I wouldn't still be trying to figure out who I am. Oh, once I prove who I actually am, it's going to be a lot bigger than that. Yeah, that's... Especially from a backup gun, that's strange. Here's my question, because I'm not stupid, far from it. How many people here are actually part of that fucked up cult? Or that family? Or are being paid to do whatever they're doing? It's nothing new. I don't know. I've reached out to journalists to ask for help. Okay, so here's the thing. What new people don't know, but you can ask. I survived being sacrificed. I didn't know there were other survivors. But I've been stalked, harassed, and everything else. There is a bounty on my head. Whoever can get me shut up. Whoever can shut me up. And that was proven. That's been proven because of all the people last year and yeah. What some people don't understand is the woman they called grandmother Hayden and her husband Howard, Alta and Howard, members from other states. I think they may have been the main leaders here in the United States. Because when these other members who have never met them, because they've been dead and gone for a long time, like the head Pumbaa, whatever you want to call the fucker, at the Palm Beach Gardens Masonic Temple, knew Howard's middle name off the top of his motherfucking head. And Howard Arian died in 1992 in Iowa. And they know all about me. That's why when I proved who I was and everything, and then head motherfucker told me to come back because I had to go to vote, whatever, and I went back because I was living in my car. They supposedly have the descendants. And this was in 2023 before I knew exactly how bad it actually was. I go back and there's nobody there. I wait and wait and wait. Finally, some dude, one of the members, comes and pulls in, and he gets out of his vehicle. Closer he gets to me, the more nervous he was getting. And I stood up. I'm like, yeah, I'm here to get, I need to talk to the higher up guy. I'm here to get the answer. He's like, I don't know, I'm not that high up. Okay. So I made a phone call. They told him to tell me when to go back. Okay, have a great day. I thought it was weird. So I go back when I'm told to go back the second time. There's a car there. Nobody's answering the doors. All the doors are locked. I'm pounding on all the door trying. Nobody's answering the doors. So I sit and wait. I live in my car. I have nothing better to do at the time but wait. I'm a very patient person. So I'm sitting there waiting. I don't know how long I waited. Maybe 10, 15 minutes. Dude in a big white van drives in. They all still dress the way Howard did with the dress shirts, the dress pants, and everything else. It's weird. And that was back in the 70s and 80s. Howard Arian was dressing like that. And so this guy gets out of his, it's a work van. Millard's, I'd have to watch the video to find out what it was. Because I recorded it. Because they acted fucking suspicious, and obviously never know why. So he pulls in, gets out of the van, and the closer he gets to me, the more physically nervous he is. It's like, yeah, I need to talk to the higher up. I don't know, I'm not part of it, I just do some work for them. That was exactly what he did. I don't know. I'm not part of it, I just do work for them. Okay. He's like, well, they're not here. It's like, there's a car right there. Yeah, they leave their cars here all the time. Evidently, I got really good at playing stupid my whole life for my own safety. That they believe that I'm actually stupid. Because how stupid do you think I actually am to believe that they're going to leave their cars there? I was like, it's okay, I'll wait. Okay. Gets in his big white van, makes a call, leaves. 15 minutes pass. He comes, pulls in, parks where he thinks I can't see where I can't see the big white van because I'm blind and all during the day. And hurries in. Hello. And so I go around, that's when I started recording. And I'm pounding on the door, and I was like, why are y'all acting scared of me? Is it because you know, you know the truth about me and that I was, y'all tried to sacrifice me and it failed and everything else. And they locked themselves in that fucking building. I got done recording, I got in my car, and sure as shit, here come 2 police cars. Now, these motherfuckers, if they want to get rid of somebody, they just get rid of them. They don't call the cops, right? So, I'm sitting in my car, and I'm thinking, uh-huh. Because I'm not stupid. I have the video. So, besides all there's over 200 lives on YouTube that's been posted and recorded and everything against. I asked her to stop, but I don't know if she has. So all the evidence is on there. I've said this multiple times. So the cops come. I'm in my car. What are you doing here? Let me see your driver's license. You know how rude cops are, right? Hand him my driver's license. He looks at it, hands it back to me, and then he says, just like this, now you know if you come back, you'll be arrested for trespassing, right? I've never had a cop talk to me like that before. But I knew then. Because the dudes, yeah, they came out when the cops showed up. 2 guys bigger than me. Head guys at this fucking temple. Hid in a locked building from me. And I wasn't wearing glasses at the time. But when the guy says, now you know if you come back, you'll be arrested for trespassing, right? I just smiled and go like this. Looked out my window, my windshield at the head guy there, and I just smiled and I said, don't worry, I won't be back. See, I'm a real child of God, unlike some who sell their souls for monetary gain. Just like that. Both men went white like Casper the fucking friendly ghost. Fear of God in their eyes. And I pull out. And I stopped before I drove off. And I turned up and I looked out my driver's window and I said, at least when I die, I won't be burning in hell for all eternity. Cop says, oh, now don't be like that. I said, I have proof of everything I say. And I drove and I went out. And I went down and around across because there was a Starbucks. Let's see, at the end of that road, there was a small gas station. Across there, then there was a median, and then there was like a little outlet mall and a Starbucks I would go sit at and charge my devices there a lot of times. So I went around, went to Starbucks, got my stuff, got all set up, started charging my devices, and I just happened to look up, and here come the cop cars, right? One drives off. The other one pulls in the small gas station and sits there. I was there for a good 2 to 2.5 hours, charging my stuff and just chilling. And that cop sat in his car in that little gas station for the entire time. I gathered my stuff up, got in my car, went around, and I pulled. And as I'm getting ready to pull on the highway, because there's no other way to go, except to get on the highway where I'm in the lane I'm in, I look in my rearview mirror, and that's when the cop was driving off in the opposite direction. That cop sat in that gas station parking lot, small gas station parking lot, to make sure I was not going to go down there. I have called the Masonic Temples, Knights of the Templar, Scottish Rites, and Eastern Star, and I have said, I know the truth. I know you're all part of the Illuminati. And I said if my great-grandparents knew what they got themselves into, they would be turning over their graves. I'm not stupid, far from it. But I said this to the lady that answered the phone with the Eastern Star. And her exact words were, "Oh, sweetheart, I can guarantee you they knew exactly what they were getting themselves into." The Mason said, "You don't want to threaten the Masons. What the fuck you gonna do about it, boy?" That's like, I don't play games. But yeah. I am written in their book. That's how these people know who I am. Because of my legal name. Well, illegal legal name. I'm written in their book. That's how I ended up getting the unaliving threat from a member from South Africa. Alta and Howard sacrificed their firstborn. If you ever get invited to go to a chili dinner, any type of dinner from the Masons, Eastern Star, anything like that, just kindly decline because now, well, I don't have to tell you all this. Now y'all know. It's in the fucking files. Everything in the files. The shit I've been saying this whole fucking time. Haven't I? The tunnels, the cages, all of it. They branded me. I have three scars on my upper inner right thigh from cigarette burns. I've had nurses tell me that when they've seen the pictures. I wonder how many other survivors, like I said, had tunnels in their room, like I did at one time. All I remember is it was behind, it looked like it would have been a closet, but it wasn't. The stairs were, like, if you're facing it, the stairs were on the left side. There were like 3-4 steps up and then a landing. And then there was a door. And I was always told not to open that door. I'm a natural born detective or some shit, because I always have been. I opened the door. It was a long hall and religious murals painted on both walls. And really pretty murals. And I told the downstairs neighbor, she was my babysitter, and she came up. I remember Sue wasn't happy. Oh, excuse me, but she came up and she took a flashlight, she went down, and 2 hours later she came back and she said there was no end. The FBI? Oh, Lord. Let's see. Have I told the FBI? Yeah. I've talked to the FBI. I have phone recordings between myself and FBI. FBI are their lapdogs. FBI knows all about it. The FBI knows exactly who I am. Why do you think I've been getting roadblocks on getting help to find out who I really am? FBI, law enforcement, they're their lapdogs. Everyone wants justice, right? Everyone wants justice. Everyone wants these monsters to go down. The problem is, law enforcement is their lapdogs. The people that are involved in this cult are not just celebrities. They're doctors, lawyers, police, judges, politicians. They run the entire world. These motherfuckers run the entire world. They have their get-togethers or their international conventions every August 16th or 17th of every fucking year. FBI knows who I am. I've contacted them several times. They've said, one laughed at me. One said, "Oh, so now you think you're this person?" They had no problem helping me when I thought I was changing Michelle Williams, or when we thought I was changing Michelle Williams. I have to go over to another country. Because if it turns out I am Catrice Lee, they said I'm 95% sure. If it turns out I am her, the ones in charge of her case are Operation Butte through the military, the Royal Military Police. Catrice Lee's father was a sergeant major in the Royal British Army when Catrice went missing on November 28th, 1981, on her second birthday from the NAFI in West Germany. November 28th was 2 days after Thanksgiving. Carol and Bob, who I grew up knowing as my aunt and uncle, were living over there at that time because Bob was in the U.S. Army, and I believe they were stationed there at the time. And it's very plausible that the family went over there for Thanksgiving that year. Let's see here. So this is the suspect that took Catrice Lee. This was done a year after the disappearance. This is the woman I knew as my biological mother. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Yeah, this is my backup account. Um, this is the age progression of Catrice Lee. This is the age progression of Catrice Lee. No, the aggression of her. That's kind of creepy. Uh, like, this is Catrice Lee as a baby. This is my oldest daughter when she was a baby. This is my youngest daughter. Well, yeah. I still have it, don't I? Um, this is Catrice Lee's older sister. Hang on. Hold on. Come on. Okay, now Val's a mod. What, her sister? That's her parents. After the disappearance. That's her father. That's her mom. 44 years. Well, first I gotta have surgery and heal from surgery and then go over there. And then when I get over there, I say, yeah, I need to talk to the military police and these other people. And they ask why, and then I gotta tell them. I don't know if the family knows about me yet or not. The Center for Missing Children people know about me over there. The slavery and exploited people know about me over there. One of the police departments know about me over there, and then there's another group that knows me about over there, and they want to help me, but can't while I'm here. I gotta be over there, you know. I have proof that FBI and them won't do anything to help me too. I'm not reaching out to the family. You realize there's been about 100 people who have tested to find out if they're Catrice or not. And some have harassed them badly. And they've been through enough, and I'm not doing it that way. I'm going about it the proper way. and the right way. Because I don't want them to have to go through any more than they already have been going through. And as much as I want to, I'm not doing it. I've contacted them, I've left messages, I've emailed a couple of times. I'm not stopping. Everybody should know that. Like, anybody that's been watching me for quite a while knows that I'm not giving up. I said that if I said I'm going to prove who I am, who I really am, even if I have to swim across the ocean. I said that, and I meant it. I got my plane ticket. Now I just got to, I have the money to for when I stay over there and everything. If anybody wants to help, the GFM is on my page. The link. Just saying. But I've said multiple times, even if and I appreciate any help that comes my way. But if I don't get any more help, I'm gonna do it, regardless. I've never given up. I'm too fucking stubborn, and if I am Catrice, I know where I get it from my father. And I was thinking about something too, because I remember asking Sue about my father so many times when I was little, when I was younger. And it was probably because I was a daddy's girl. How would I feel if I'm not Catrice Lee? Well, I don't know. I know I'm somebody, I just don't know who I am. Like I said, I'm 95% sure. I have the same birthmark, I have the same mole, I have, and I'm going to find out real soon if I have the same eye condition. You know. And only 2 to 3% of the population have a club thumb. I have it on my right hand. And I can't show it on here because I get flagged and shit. But the picture of Catrice Lee, if you look it up and you zoom in on her right thumb, it looks like she has a club thumb on her right hand. Because a club thumb, your thumbs are like this. This is my club thumb. Everything happens the way it's meant to. If I'm not Catrice Lee, I am not going to stop until I find out who I am. Because what I do know for a fact is I was never supposed to be taken. I've been told that multiple times. I was never supposed to be taken. And all I want to do is prove who I am, find out who I am, prove who I am for sure, reunite with my family, and I want justice for myself and all the other children, all the other victims. Hello, Maggie. That's why I go by Grace and Grace Marie, because my name's not Heather, and it feels weird it's always felt weird being called Heather. Always felt weird being called Heather. Sue used to tell me, actually, they all told me that she used to tell me she was going to name me Jennifer Lynn. It was always going to be Jennifer Lynn, and then they said, then I was born, it's a girl. Oh, it's Heather Lane. I have no idea if Jennifer Lynn was one of her children that she had, or if I'm not Catrice Lee, is Jennifer Lynn my real name? And where did I go missing from? Where am I really from? Who are my parents? Have they been looking for me? It's like having an identity crisis because you don't know what else to do. And Grace Marie and Grace, it's a beautiful name, but and it was okay for a while, but it's just, I don't. Which family? The family I was in? Thank you, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the help. The family I was in are a bunch of psychopaths. What have you read or heard about the Epstein files? Oh, Ancestry. Let me tell you about Ancestry. See, someone had bought me a test for Ancestry DNA. The results came back 12 days early. It said that it showed me being Heather. But I've already had it confirmed by 2 law enforcement agents, another person that I've known for over 20 years that's actually part of that cult. I had no idea, but and then someone entwined that cult because they were a victim too. Confirm, I'm not Heather. There's no possible way. Doctors have even admitted that there's no way because of pictures. So, the test results came back for my DNA 12 days early, said I was Heather. Here's where it gets interesting. It listed, had all these people that it tied me to, like Smitty's family, who was supposedly my biological father, according to Sue and them, and then that family. You with me so far? I knew something was off. I knew. At first I took it at face value, but then things just, I don't know, kept nagging at me. And I looked at the where your DNA comes from, your ancestry or whatever. See, Sue's family, they are direct descendants of like John and Priscilla Alden. So there would be more than like 10% England in her DNA, don't you think? So that's strange. Along with it had my youngest daughter's first name on there, but the wrong last name. But I looked at hers, the one that said it was my daughter, and looked at her, her father's DNA. My first husband, her father, was Italian. But there's no Italian in her DNA. It said like Iceland, a little bit of indigenous, South America, but no Italian. But my ex-husband was Italian, John Anthony. You can't get more Italian than John Anthony. Okay? Like, he's Italian. I can't help that. So I knew something was weird. And I'm like, this is really weird. Couldn't figure it out at first. And I talked about it on here, and so then I got a message, an email saying, great news, we got more info about your ancestral history, whatever. I looked, it just added more percentage of England to the mother's side. And that's when I DM'd the guy who's in charge of the DNA testing that. I said, I know my DNA was never tested. He DM'd me back. He said, you came up as a match to my daughter, EB. I clicked on it, and it says, you and EB are fourth cousins or third half cousin once removed on the mother's side. The mother's side being my abductor. In other words, the guy who's in charge with the ancestry DNA testing is related to my abductors. My DNA was never tested through Ancestry. They did it because they thought I would leave it alone and just drop it and take it at face value. If I did an Ancestry test that they put on there, whatever they put on there. So and when I found out what it said, oh yeah, when I found out how it showed that we were supposedly related, I said to him, I DM'd him and I said, now I know why it was never tested. You're related to my abductors. Don't worry, it's already been confirmed that I'm not Heather, and I will be proving who I am. Don't you worry about that. No, he read it, no response. I requested for the DNA to be removed from the system, canceled the membership or whatever, the account. And what's weird is when I put the digits in, it automatically connected to one of my emails. I didn't sign up for Ancestry, so that was another strange thing. But, so, I got rid of it and everything, right? A couple weeks passed, and something just kept nagging at me. I'm like, well, just to see. So, I started a new account, different name, and, different name, different email. So you know when you start those accounts, you can look up names of people, right, that are on there, right? I looked up the names of the people that that supposedly tied to me. All of those accounts that were tied to my my DNA supposedly are all gone. Every last one of them have disappeared from Ancestry DNA. Every account. The one that was supposedly my daughter, the one that was supposedly Smitty's nephew or whatever, and so on and so forth. Every account that tied to me, that fucked up DNA test, is gone. That's not suspicious at all, is it? When people go to that much trouble, that says something. When people are going to that much trouble to get me to stop trying to get to the truth, to go as far as to get a hold of the guy from Ancestry DNA, who they're related to, through his daughter, just to get me not to continue to try and find the truth. What the fuck does that tell you? My question is, why are so many people hell-bent on me not proving who I really am and not finding out who I really am? FBI, police, missing and exploited children's unit here in the States, Ancestry DNA. Why are all these people hell-bent on me not proving who I actually am? Is it because I was the only one that was never supposed to be taken? And my DNA is the key to taking these motherfuckers down once and for all? It could be. Who's J.E.? Oh. Yeah, that one surprised me. That's the thing, this shit's been going on for hundreds of years. I am, like, for the longest time, I didn't know there were any other survivors like me, and I'm seeing now that there are because more and more people are talking. And I've been sent videos by by some people of these other survivors, and I watch and I listen I watch their videos and I listen, and it's like watching somebody talk about what I went through and talk about my life and that, and and the things that I went through. It's it's a lot, you know. And in my mind, I'm like, is this real? Is this really happening? People are actually seeing the truth finally, and I'm and knowing, because when you're with people like that and they brainwash you and shit like that, and to believing that you're crazy and your memories aren't real. And then you question yourself. No matter how long it's been since you've been free, you still question yourself. Are your memories actually real? Because this shit's horrific. Did you really go through that? And then you second guess yourself. Maybe that family was right. Maybe I really am Heather and I am crazy and this, but I'm not. And it just, I will never understand it. I think the reason I'm able to, I guess process it like you said. I'm still trying to process it. There's no I've processed it. That's not no, that's gonna take a long time. Because I keep realizing things and remembering things, and which is I wish it would stop. It won't. My whole life, I've had to be strong. I've taken care. Like, best way I could put it is imagine living every fairy tale, every princess fairy tale, except the Grimm Brothers version, the Brothers Grimm version. And every fairy, even Alice in Wonderland. That was the homeless center housing. Like, oh, my mind never rests. Sometimes I lay in bed, I cannot, my mind never shuts off. I go and I take a shower and I'm going over things in my mind while I'm showering. I'm cooking, same fucking thing. I lay in bed, same fucking thing. I go to sleep thinking about shit. My mind never shuts off. I don't know how to rest. Even when I'm sleeping, I don't rest. You know, I could be a therapist. Sweetheart, let me explain something. I don't trust therapists. I've been misdiagnosed with so many things. At one time, they had me on 30 different prescriptions, things I did not need. I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia and everything else, which I don't have. And I knew I didn't have it. And the reason is because what happens when someone who has schizophrenia does hardcore rugs? It intensifies. The paranoia, all that intensifies because that shit will make people paranoid anyway, right? And I'm talking about M, for example, right? It never made me. It never made me paranoid. Nothing. I do. Believe it or not, I am happy a lot. Well, for the most part, I enjoy the simple things in life, and but I want more out of life. Obviously, I want every. For the longest time, I felt like if I wanted extravagant things and riches and all of that, that I was selfish and no better than them, and that money was the root of all evil and all that shit. And I've given the shirt off my back. I've done all that, and I've gone without to help others. The truth is, I know that's not true, and I'm learning that I deserve good things and I deserve to have whatever I want. You know, Frankie, obviously. He's the one thing that does make me smile no matter what. Was it the other night? I think the username they use is Pookie. They were like, they wonder if he knows how much my eyes light up when I talk about him. The one man I am head over heels madly in love with, and I have only felt this way about him. See, other people, they make my skin crawl. I don't like physical affection. Obvious reasons. Uh, for the longest time, just anybody touching me made my skin crawl, and sometimes still does. Uh, but him, it was very different with him. Even his family. I don't, like, for the longest time, I thought it just was everybody made my skin crawl. Anybody that would touch, get close to me. And I have kids. But I'm talking about, like, every guy, every significant other I had, and no matter who it was. But then I don't know what happened. Granted, they all still make my skin crawl. Clearly. But not him. Him, his family, I've hugged his mom and his dad and his sister and that before, and. But the only one, like, everyone used to make my skin crawl, and then Frankie, that was different. He doesn't make my skin crawl, obviously. But yeah, I don't know who Pookie is, but whoever's behind that name, but they always change the subject when I'm upset or mad and bring it back to Frankie, because, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Well, I know he watched. I did know I always. I know when he's watching. I know when he's watching when I sing. And you know when he's not. Because being an empath, you pick up on people's emotions. And if it's someone that, say it's your soulmate, you pick up on their emotions. Oh, do you pick up on their emotions? I know when he's mad, when he's sad, when he's happy, when I can feel it. I can feel it. No matter how far apart we are, I can feel it. And I know when there's times when, yeah, I think about him all the time. That's obvious, but there's times when I do other things. I still think about him, but I'm not really overly thinking about him. But then there's times where all I can do is all I think about is him, and I can't concentrate on anything else, and I don't know why. But I know they say when you're thinking about someone, that person is thinking about you too. So I figure if that's true, then when I'm thinking about him, but I'm like not really, you know what I mean? A little bit, just thinking about it a little bit, but not really. It's probably because he's very busy at the time and teaching or whatnot. And then when it's on overload and I can't think about anything else, it's because he's really thinking about me and not much of anything else. I could be wrong, though. I could be fucking wrong. I don't know. But he's releasing a song on February 13th, and it is the most beautiful song I've ever heard. It's my new favorite song. It hadn't even come out yet. And it's like the perfect wedding song. And if I were to ever marry him, he would have to deal with his song being a wedding song, if that makes sense. God, why am I crying? That's so weird. But I am super excited for this song. Now, if I could get him to come see me for Valentine's Day, that'd be great. You know. Let me play a clip for you. Every storm we walk through, you're a lover I didn't dream of. You're the wish I never knew. For the rest of my life, I wanna dance with you. Slow and fast through every season, every song. My favorite song. It hadn't even come out yet. It's my favorite song. Oh, shit. I miss him. Frankie Zaffarino. I've been in love with that man for over 5 years now. And waited for him and been true to him and all that. I've been patient. And I figure if he didn't feel the same way about me, you would think he would tell me, right? Because he knows exactly how I feel. He's known he's known it almost the entire time. Um, I've told him to his face. And I've also said in a DM, I said, if you don't feel, I said, you know how I feel about you. If you don't feel the same way about me, just tell me. Tell me to my face. You tell me over the phone, skywrite it in a message. Just tell me. The man left me on red. Has not once ever told me he didn't feel the same way. But I know he's been hurt a lot, and I know that he never wants to be hurt again. So, that might be why I keep expressing how I feel about him, and I keep letting him know. That's not a sign, sweetheart. Especially when there's still flirting going on. Yeah. Nice try, though. I mean, if you know the man and he's told you something, I highly doubt that, but, you know. See, the only person that can tell me he's not interested in me is him, and knowing him, he would actually tell me, not leave me on red. So, that doesn't work. And the first time, the first time I met him in person, oh yeah, we fought back and forth. Shit. Okay, you want to know the first time I met him or the first time I saw him? First time I met him in person, it was at Wings and Wishes 2022. Yeah, 2022. And, we had the meet and greet and everything, which was great. And then it got interesting throughout the night. Like, when he was performing, he serenaded me. Girl, all I know, baby, is every time you're near. I'll show you. And in the background, you can hear his uncle, yeah, Cheech, go, Cheech, go. Yeah, they call him Cheech. His uncle one of his uncles, found me in the crowd and started talking to me. Yeah. But, let's see, where is it? So there's that. And then I got this amazing gift a couple days after that. That I did not ask for it, nor did I know that I was going to be getting. He's 34. Nope. he's 35. He was born in 1990. He's 35. And then this. Now, because of the life I've had, and that, and you know, I thought he was just being nice. And I still question it, if he was just being nice, or if he really was flirting with me, or if he feels the same way. I don't know. And so, but because the life I've had, and because I had every intention on telling him how I felt that night, and then because Brad's daughter dared me to ask him out and tell him how I felt. It's like, all right, bet. And Lynn is like, why would you do that? I was like, what? Why would you embarrass yourself like that? I was like, why would you say that? Or I said, what are you talking about? And she's like, he would never be with... Look at him and look at you. He could be with anybody he wants. He would never be with something like you. Not someone like me. Something like me. So I didn't tell him. I didn't ask him because I kept hearing her voice in my head. And since then, I've had a lot of several females tell me he would never be with me because I'm delusional for thinking he would ever be with me because we come from two different... You name it, he won't be with you because of this. He'll never be with you because of that. And you're just delusional, this, that, and the other. I've heard it all. So I've gotten to the point where I'm like, did he tell you that? No. Did he think that and you read his mind? No. Then shut the fuck up. The only person that can ever tell me that he would never be with me or never want to be with me or he doesn't feel the same way as I do and that I will actually listen and believe is him. And he hasn't. He hasn't told me either way, damn it. And I say, I'm a big girl, I can handle it. You don't feel the same way about me, I can handle it. I don't care how I feel about you. That's just it. All that matters to me is he's happy. I would love to live it if, if he would, he and I got together and I could be the one to make him happy, obviously, but if it's not me, if it's somebody else, as long as I make him happy, and that's all that matters. Will I ever be with anybody if it's not him? No. Fuck that shit. He's the exception. I decided back in December of 2020 I was never going to be with anybody. I was fine being single the rest of my life. I was never going to fall in love. February 2021, that all changed when he came across my For You page a week after I downloaded TikTok. The moment I laid eyes on him, I fell in love with him. I saw his heart and his soul. And that's what made me fall in love with him. I didn't even know his name. And his video was on a fucking scammer account. I had no idea who the fuck he was. But I fell in love with him. And any attraction I had to anybody else went out the fucking window. So I've been in love with this man for 5 years now. A little over 5 years. No, almost 5 years. About 5 years. And he knows. And I wait patiently until he decides he's going to tell me. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I've waited 5 years, and the only man I will ever be with, if I'm with anybody, is him. The only person I'd ever be with is him. I just wish I knew how he felt about me. If he feels the same way, amazing. Tell me and let's get together. Don't have to rush things, so go at whatever pace we feel comfortable at. Do I want to marry him eventually? I would love to marry him and be his wife and that. I want to spend the rest of my life with him. Yeah, the song, I knew I loved you before I met you. I think I dreamed you into life. I knew I loved you before I met you. I have been waiting all my life. Well, damn. You never know. That would be amazing. But everything happens the way it's meant to. And as much as I'm in love with him, that's the thing. I would have loved to have been with him a long time ago. And, there's times where I'm upset, that we haven't been. But there's reasons. And honestly, as much as I love him, and if he does feel the same way, if he does love me as much as I love him or whatever, I think if we had gotten together back then, when I would have loved to, I don't know if it would have worked. I don't know if it may not have even worked out. Because I had a lot of healing to do, and I know he had a lot of healing to do. And I'm not a one night stand type of gal. Fuck that shit. So, yeah. We've both had a lot of healing to do. And the only man I ever think about anymore is him. I don't even, there'd be times when I would think about my ex, what a jackass he was, and all that shit still. Excuse me. But the only person I ever think about anymore is him. Because he's the only man that means anything to me. Frankie John Zolfarino is the only man that I could ever see me spending the rest of my life with. And I hope that it happens someday. What I would give just to spend quality time with him. You know? Damn it, I'm tired of crying. So, I'm gonna change the subject real quick. Somebody asked me when my surgery is. Thank you. He's 35. Um, well, not really a tour. I think he's planning on having a show at some point. Um, you know, tours are expensive. You know, we gotta get him mainstream and that kind of thing. Let's push his music out there. Z-Mob does so much. We try. We do our best, and he does his best, and we all do our best to get it out there. You know? So, um, my surgery is scheduled for February 20th. I'm not on Medicare as it is. I'm on Medicaid. And I'm having the surgery here. And then, I can't wait till I can start working out again. And then I gotta wait 6 weeks after surgery before I can start working out again. And I'm not working out till after that anyway. Well, I got him at the Charlotte's. Um, 10 years ago, I was misdiagnosed with gastroparesis, so I have a stimulator in my stomach that I never needed. And I've had it for, well, this is the second one in 10 years, so they're going to be removing it. I have diverticulitis, not gastroparesis. And, yeah. Well, thinking about it now, I could very easily see the doctor in the hospital, right? For malpractice. That's a foreign object in my fucking stomach. Yeah, because I have a foreign object I didn't need in my stomach. However, I'm not going to. And the reason is because it's not the doctor's fault. He misdiagnosed me. I was also being poisoned at the time. That's why I was so sick and losing so much weight and everything else. I went from 276 pounds down to 171 from November of 2015 to August 2016 when I had my surgery. I was having flare-ups on top of all the medications I was on top of being poisoned. So I'm not gonna, because I've talked to the head of that hospital, and he has assured you, like, I'm the only one that has ever had anything to say about that doctor, having any issues with that doctor. So I don't want to ruin his career because he is a good doctor. He's a really good doctor. He's good at what he does. I don't want to ruin his career because of other things that were being done to me as to why I was misdiagnosed. And come to find out, being misdiagnosed with gastroparesis is actually fairly common. And there have been people who have been misdiagnosed with it and who have had the stimulator and that. And it's not really the doctor's fault because if you look at the symptoms with flare-ups and with gastroparesis, flare-ups with diverticulitis, things with diverticulitis, and look up things with gastroparesis, it's identical symptoms. Well, let's see, the first people that were poisoning me and rugging me were that family. And others, being trafficked. And then Linda had me put on medication in 1990, Prozac and Ritalin. Those were the first two. And then it just escalated from there. And then I was sick all the time, called a hypochondriac, everything. She was poisoning me. She was putting shit in my food. And then when November that year, when I started getting sick and loss of appetite, I had just gotten together with the guy I was dating at that time. I met him on POF. And we got together, in person in October. And then he met Linda and then Linda and Ralph. And then it was after he met Linda that he started poisoning me. And I know he was because he used to be an exterminator. And even though he was on disability and not an exterminator anymore, he was still able to get the chemicals. And these chemicals, I would go with him to his friends' houses when he would spray their houses. There was no odor with these chemicals. And he always insisted on cooking. And he would keep the container in the kitchen instead of the spare bedroom. I remember one time, and it was probably March, or it was around tax return or something in what year was it? 2016, around tax time. I was sick and everything, and it was raining. I remember it was raining. He went out to get drinks at the gas station. He walked to go get a drink or something like that. But I know it was raining pretty hard. And when he came back, he's like, "Look, hon, you won't believe what I found." He said he found this. He showed me the envelope full of cash. He said he found it on the ground. I didn't think anything of it. There was like $900 in it. I didn't think much of it. But the thing is, the envelope and the cash were both dry, but it had been pouring out. How is it dry? I think somebody paid him to poison me. I believe wholeheartedly Linda paid him to poison me. Because she had to keep doing it, and if I'm not staying with them, and I'm staying with the guy at the time, she can't let me know that I'm not sick. She can't let me know that I'm, know what I mean? Now, how I figured out I was being poisoned was, I felt better for a long time. But that stimulator was working and everything, right? Because I'm thinking I have gastroparesis. So, for the first time ever, I asked her. I think it was late November, early December of 2022. I told her about the memory of running up to the person with the gray jacket or whatever, um, who gave me the safety sucker. She went pale and said it was my imagination and it never happened. I think it was a day or two after that I started getting really sick again. And then she tried bribing me into not going to West Palm Beach for New Year's Eve that year. But let me go back to the doctor's appointment I had with the gastroenterologist to see a specialist to get the stimulator checked. I don't remember the guy's name, but what's interesting is we went there and he had this poster or whatever that was framed. It had the name McCord across the top and the origin of where it comes from and everything else. The doctor's name was not McCord. He's like, oh, a patient gave this to me. Here, you guys can have it. So this doctor, one of his patients just gave him this thing, right? And our last name just happens to be McCord, so, I mean, what are the odds? And so he told me that they don't replace the stimulators anymore, and this, that, and the other. So my plan was I was going to go for New Year's Eve to West Palm Beach, and then I was going to go back and have my stimulator removed and just enjoy whatever time I had left. Linda kept trying to bribe me not to go, even after I got my plane tickets. And up until the day I left to go to Florida, she had offered me about $600. I said, no, Ma, I need to go. I need to enjoy my time because when I come back, that's it. I'm going to have the stimulator removed. I'm going to, I need to do this. She was not happy I was going. And, well, I know why. It's because she was poisoned. She started putting shit in my food again. The day after I got to Florida, I felt so much better. I was able to go to the beach. I ate whatever I wanted. I just thought it was the weather. Great weather, beach, wonderful. She and I had an argument on the phone while I was there one of the times, once or twice, which was very common. Nothing new. I told her I was moving out. I was going to look for my own place when I got back and everything. I was going to move. And when I got back, it started again. Started getting sick again, so I thought I was stressed. Didn't know what the fuck. So one night she made T-bone steaks, and this was a couple nights after I got back. I don't like T-bones. I like steak, I just don't like T-bones. I don't know why, But I went out to get mine earlier than usual, and she's like, oh, you're coming out here to get yours now? I was like, yeah. Now, mind you, they were all the same size, all cooked the same way. She's like, okay, that one there is yours, that one over there is Sean's. Sean's her biological son. Didn't think anything of it. Like, okay. I cut it up, I took a bite of it, and it was really, really bitter. I just thought it was my taste buds changing because I quit smoking cigarettes and my taste buds had been changing. And not liking T-bones to begin with. Yeah. So I just thought it was my taste buds, and so I gave it to my dog that I had at the time. For 24 to 48 hours, my dog was vomiting and diarrhea. She was okay afterwards. But that's how I found out Linda was poisoning me. That's how I found out I was being poisoned, because I gave my food to my dog. And that's when I started locking myself in the room and I would not even, if she offered me McDonald's, I wouldn't take anything she offered me. Fine, fuck you, I'm just trying to be nice. I'm like, no, I'm alright, we're good, we're good. No, fine, fine, yeah, I'm just trying to be nice. That was her answer. Because I refused to take anything she would offer me. So, because of that, she started putting something in my Sprite, my 2 liters. And I know this because I went out, I kept the 2 liters in the kitchen thinking nothing of it. I went out one night to get, fill my cup up with Sprite and started feeling real funky real quick. After I was drinking it, I'm like, fuck, nah. And I knew. So then I just started drinking ice water because you get it out of the fridge. You push a button, there's the ice water. You get the ice out of the thing, and then where everybody else gets ice, and then you get the water out of the fridge. Because you just put your cup against the door. So one night I went out to get a drink, and Mason and Bella were out there, who I thought were my niece and nephew. I used to be Bella's favorite person too. And they were like, "Why don't you drink Sprite?" I was like, "No, my taste buds are changing. I'm trying to be healthier. I'm just having ice water. I'm good with ice water." And Mason says, "Why are you afraid you're gonna get poisoned or something like that?" And Bill's like, "Mason," like that, and they were just basically, you ever been bullied by a 10 and 12-year-old relentlessly that are just like their father? Yeah, you don't want to be. It was bad. It was bad. And I went and locked myself in my room and cried. And I know that's stupid, but yeah, these people aren't even related to me. And I keep thinking, how the fuck did I should have known? I should have known. I should have known. How did I not know? I guess when you're 2, you don't know. And to be quite honest, there's times when I said, why the fuck did I run up to her? Why? Whatever. I should never have done that. I shouldn't have run up to her. But again, it was a sucker and I was 2. And I keep thinking maybe it is my fault. And I know it's not, and I know that's stupid to think like that, but. And then you have survivor's remorse. No, survivor's remorse, survivor's guilt, whatever it's called, where you know how you survive and how you couldn't help others that didn't. I survived and other children didn't. And I saw it. What y'all read about, what's in those files, I will not read the files, obviously. I don't need to. What you read about in those files is in the pictures you see in that doesn't compare to witnessing it and having shit done to you. And not being able to save the others. Sorry. The whole cannibalism shit. One I witnessed, that's how the child died. I don't know. This has been going on for hundreds of years, and there's more than just one island, from my understanding. Now, I don't know if I'm in the files. I might be. I don't know. But it is awful strange that the things I've talked about, my memories, are what is in there, huh? From my understanding, what I've talked about is what's in those files. My memories of that. And that was before the files ever came out. So I don't know. But even if I'm not, the shit's been going on for hundreds of years. It's the same shit, just different people. They do the same shit. They're rituals. Rituals, you know. What is a ritual? The same shit over and over and over again. Right? So I don't know if I'm in the files or not. I remember the room. It was like a basement or cellar. And there were stones. And like on the walls there were stones. And there would be a pillar with one of those, what do you call it, where you put it on, the things that you set fire and then they stick them on the wall, on the pillars. And there would be a pillar with one of those, and then there would be and then back behind it there would be a fireplace, and then there'd be another pillar. There would be like another fireplace. There was like 2 or 3 fireplaces. And then, yes, there were torches on the pillars. And there was at least one really, really long table with things on it. Doesn't surprise me. There's tunnels everywhere. There was a tunnel in a bedroom I had. The first bedroom I know it had to have been the second bedroom I was in. Because that apartment, when I couldn't stop urinating, we weren't in there very long. The next place we lived was that house. We lived upstairs in the upstairs apartment, and my babysitter lived downstairs. And the tunnel was in my bedroom across from my bed. I had a canopy bed. The bed was right here, and then at the edge of the bed, or the foot of the bed, if you sat at the foot of the bed like this and looked right across, there was the landing, and there were 3 or 4 steps going up to the landing on the left side, and then there was the door at the top, like at the top on the landing. And you open the door, and then there were religious murals painted on both walls. The downstairs neighbor went and she walked through that tunnel for an hour, and there were religious paintings the whole way down. And she came back and said there was no ending to that tunnel. And we lived upstairs, so I don't, like, That's what's strange. There was a the first apartment. You go up the stairs to the house, and then you go inside, and then there would be an apartment here, which was where she lived, and then there were stairs going up, and the railings were painted black. They were the really thick wood, and our door was upstairs on this side. I had the biggest bedroom in that apartment. There was no closet. My room was white. There were some toys off on this set. Like you go in the room, there was an area over here to play. There was no dresser. There were toys. There was no dresser. Where was my clothes? There was no closet, no dresser, but a bed with a canopy bed and toys over here. Could have. Did we live there? How would we live there if I didn't have clothes there? And another thing, I've been to places over in the city, like when I first, would first get here and everything, wandered around over there. I end up in places that felt so familiar and seemed so familiar, yet I'd never been there before. At least I didn't think I had. But now I'm on the bet I had. I have a feeling that that apartment we lived in where when I first escaped in that, we did live there. And then she would take me over to that other place a lot. I remember sleeping. I don't know, did I sleep there? That's true. That's the problem I have. I only have bits and pieces of memories because of everything. I remember one time I asked her, I said, basically demanded to meet my father. I wanted to, I don't know, I didn't know at the time why, and I'm still not sure, but I asked about my father all the time, constantly. And I wanted to meet him, and I wanted to see him, and I wasn't sure. I had to have been a daddy's girl, right? For me to be so obsessed with wanting to meet my father or see my father at that young age, I had to have been a daddy's girl. I remember she took me to this hotel. She said she was taking me to meet him. We went in, and I remember we went up the stairs, like these winding stairs, and it was like this really old decor carpet, flowers on it, on the carpet, I think. There was like a winding staircase upstairs to the rooms, to the room we went up to. When we got up there to this one room, the door was open. I remember looking in and I saw the foot of the bed. And that's the last thing I remember. Just like when I was taken to a circus. I don't remember going to the circus. I remember the only thing I really remember about it is being on the back of an elephant. And then the next thing I remember, I was walking towards the apartment building with this brand new Pop-Up stuffed animal. That's probably where my fear of clowns comes from. The other thing is I have the that one show Zaboomafoo, the theme song is a trigger for me. It freaks me out. I don't know why that happens either, but I'm sure there's a very good explanation. So, and I know a lot of people say they believe me, and I know a lot of people do because it's coming out now on that, but because of everything I've been through on that, I question it. Do people really believe me, or do they just say they do? And I don't want anybody to think that I mean anything negative or bad about that. It's just, I question everything. Oh, wow. I'm ready for my happily ever after. I want it all. The perfect happily ever after for me. Frankie would come tell me how he feels about me. We get together. He goes to London with me. And I prove who I am, reunite with my family, and eventually he and I get married. My father walks me down the aisle, and we all live happily ever after. And the monsters go away for the rest of their lives. Is that too much to ask? But my happily ever after will always involve, will always have Frankie. Frankie is my happily ever after. I ordered a, I ordered a soulmate drawing. It looks well. Let me show you. Y'all know what he looks like, right? Let's see if it's on this phone. Okay, so let's see. Freaky, where the fuck are you? Okay, so we know what the hunka burning love looks like, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's Frankie, and then this is my soulmate, right? Yeah. Yeah, but the whole thing is if he wants to be with me, I can't give him kids, so but yeah, that's so um yeah. Well, unless things happen, there's always surrogates or whatnot. But we could have kids. Just have Frenchies for babies. You know, with his career the way it is, and that I don't. He'd make a great father. He would, but I don't know if he wants kids. Maybe someday he does, but I don't know. And everything happens for a reason. Who knows? Maybe we get together, he decides he wants kids, then we'll figure it out. But first step is to get him to tell me how he feels. If he feels the same way, then we go from there. You know? But I do miss him terribly. You know, the only reason I'm still here is because I am. The only reason I kept going and changed my life and improved it and everything, the reason I found the courage to leave that fucking house and shit is him. If it wasn't for him, I'd probably still be in that situation. And I don't think he knows that he saved my life. Like he has, as many times as he has. And the fact that he's kept me going all this time. I've been in love with the man for 5 fucking years. And sometimes you can fix yourself so much. But in order for you to fix yourself even more, you actually have to. You know, you have to move forward. Besides, I've come a very long way, and I'm ready, and I know I'm ready. Yeah, he is. But I think right now, until that happens, I think at this moment in time, I'm probably supposed to be doing exactly what I'm doing right now, just resting. Because I think I'm being prepared for what's about to happen. Because I think when whatever's going to happen happens, I'm not going to be getting much rest. Privacy, rest, anything. Because once I do go to London and it goes out and everything, media, paparazzi, all that type of shit is what I'm going to have to deal with. Because over there, the case is really, it's evidently very publicized from my understanding. So I don't know what's going to happen when I get over there, but you know, everything happens the way it's meant to. So right now, I'm just supposed to be resting, I guess, and trying to learn how to rest. Try being the key word. But yeah, I'm ready whenever he is. And if he doesn't feel the same way, I wish he would tell me because not knowing hurts more than rejection because of the uncertainty. And if he just told me he didn't feel the same way about me, would it hurt? Yeah. Would I get over it? Yeah. I'm a big girl. I can handle it. Rejection, part of life. Everything I've been through. But am I in love with him? Yeah. Am I always going to be in love with him? Yes. You don't pick who you fall in love with. Trust and believe. Never in my wildest imagination did I ever think or believe that I would ever fall in love with someone who is an entertainer in the entertainment business for a very long time and who's also 10 or 11 years younger than me. Never in my wildest imagination. But I did. It happened. And because when you fall in love with somebody like that, and you're vocal about it because you want them to know how you feel. Because I believe in letting the person know how you feel about them. But with that comes a lot of BS. One person told me I was acting like a lovesick teenager and he wouldn't be safe around me. That was one of his fans. Yeah. And she said a bunch of other shit. It's nothing new. But yeah, I know what comes with dating someone like him. And I'll deal with it. And I will always be polite and cordial and everything else. I never say a bad thing to anybody because I never do. Because I'm a grown ass woman. And I'm an adult. you know. But if he doesn't feel the same way about me, like I said, it would be alright. And that's when I would shut off my emotions for him. My feelings for him. Like that. Because no matter what, I'll always be there for him. And if I were to shut off my feelings for him, that would mean I would shut off the love part. Being in love with him part. And if I do that, there's no coming back from that. So that's why I haven't done it. Because something keeps telling me not to. So I patiently wait. until he tells me one way or the other. You know? So, yeah. But, I think I'm gonna end this. I'm tired. It's 1:47 and I'm tired. Shit. I don't know why I'm tired, but I'm tired. Like I said, I think now I'm supposed to just be resting as much as possible because, surgery and then whatever's to come. So, anyway, I hope y'all have a great night. And until next time, I will see y'all later. Have a good night, guys. I might be live on my main account tomorrow during the day. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. But we'll see. Till next time, see y'all later. Have a good night. Bye bye.